slope from a graph. And if you're looking at a graph, how did we calculate that slope? Rise over run. How much up and over. If we don't have a graph, if we have to base it off points, then there is a formula to use. So in this slope, we said yesterday, M is the letter we use for slope. Okay, if our 2 points are x1, y1, and x2, y2, we do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The slope is rise over run. So if you subtract the y's, you figure out how much you go up. If you subtract the x's, you figure out how much you go over. Okay, so we can use that if we don't have a graph. Again, we do need to make sure it's in lowest terms. If you struggle with that, there's always calculators you can use. If you're having trouble, please let me know so I can sit down with you and talk about that a little more. But let's just go through some of these problems. When I'm looking at it, does it matter like which point is x1 and x2? What matters is in one ordered pair you have an x1 and a y1. The second ordered pair is x2 and y2. So each ordered pair has an x and a y. Okay, the 1 and 2 is just saying x in the first point, x in the second point. So when I do my slope, y2, so my second y is 3. Bless you. Minus y1, so my first y is 1, over x2, the second x was 4, x1, the first x was 1. Does everybody see where I got those numbers? So in an ordered pair, x is first, y is second. And now we just simplify. So 3 minus 1 is 2. 4 minus 1 is 3. Does 2 over 3 reduce? You can't divide them both by anything, so we're done. So this line would have a slope of 2/3. Let's look at the second property. So if I wanted to label these, this is the x of the first one, the y of the first one, x of the second, y of the second. So slope, y2, so y of the second is -2, minus y1, the y in the first is 4, over x2, x in the second was 10, minus x1, the x of the first was -2. -2 minus 4. What happens if you have a minus a negative? So 10 plus 2 is 12. 6 and 12, can they both be divided by anything? Yeah, we divide by 6, and -1 over 2. Alright, I want you guys to try this third one. So I think really the only mistake I'm seeing is dealing, the negatives can get a few of you. So if you're struggling, if you know that you tend to drop negatives and things, you are welcome to use a calculator. I'm not going to judge, I promise, I don't care. So this first point we have x1, y1, x2, y2. So when we set it up, y2 is negative 5 minus y1 is 5 over x2, negative 8, minus x1, which is a negative 4. So negative 5 minus 5, that's like plus negative 5. So negative 5 plus a negative 5 is a negative 10. Minus a negative becomes positive, negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. If you divide two negatives, you get a positive. 10 and 4, what can we divide both of those by? 2. So we have a positive, 10 divided by 2 is 5, 4 divided by 2 is 2. If you ended up with like a 10 and a 12, you just missed the negative on the 4. So I know that happened to a few people. Are there questions? Looks like we've got the process. We need to work on just the attention to detail. Let's look at number 5. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So my slope, Y2 is 9 minus Y1 is 9 over x2 is a 3 minus x1 is a 5. 9 minus 9? 0. 3 minus 5, or you can think of it as 3 plus a negative 5. What is 0 divided by negative 2? 0 divided by anything is 0. Hey, do you remember yesterday? What kind of line is it if the slope is 0? It's a constant, just a horizontal line there. Alright. Number 6. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Hello. Yes, I do. Absolutely. Okay. Okay, so y2 is 5 minus y1 is 8, x2 negative 7 minus x1 is negative 7. 5 minus 8, and on the bottom minus the negative becomes positive. Negative 7 plus 7 is, can we divide by 0? What do we write? What kind of line is that? Good. Okay, why don't you guys try 7 and 8? If we do okay, then we might stop here. So, the first one, y2 is 3 minus the first y is 9 over 2 minus negative 1. So 3 minus 9 is negative 6 minus negative is positive. What is negative 6 divided by 3? Six divided by this one. Y2 is negative 2 minus y1 is 13 over x2 is 6 minus negative 4. So it's like plus a negative. Negative 2 and negative 13 would be negative 15. 6 plus 4 is 10. What can 15 and 10 both be divided by? 5. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Alright. Questions? So I have a handout. I want you guys to practice this.